Good evening, everyone. In the spirit of it being midnight, my bad, Q. In the spirit of being midnight, we're gonna go ahead and get this meeting started. But for starters, if everyone can mute their screen, that will be greatly appreciated. As well as if everyone can turn on their cameras. I know it's late. So many people are in bed, but it will be a lot more personable if we could see your beautiful faces. So thank you guys in advance for that. See, Davita, your face popped right up right away. Look at you looking gorgeous. All right, so thank you guys for being here. For the Blueprint informational session. I am Steph Crosley. I'll be facilitating this evening. I also serve as, I also serve as the program manager of the Blueprint. Our objective here today, it's kind of like a recruitment session. Our goal is to make sure that businesses are well aware of the purpose of the Blueprint, what the Blueprint has to offer, the commitment, what it means for you as a business. It is a two-way street. We love to use our platform to, move Milwaukee businesses forward, and we want you guys to feel that you're just as invested in the whole experiment or experience as possible. As the people behind the scenes, it's easy for us to paint a very beautiful picture of the Blueprint, but it actually works best when we can have one of our participants step up. So we do have Ishelle from Moose Sample coming in to share her Blueprint experience and hopefully, advocate for the program and get you guys on board. And then we are joined by Mr. Michael Logic, a software engineer who has some amazing things under his belt. And I'm looking forward to his story and his session with you guys. And of course, we'll open it up for questions and answers. So please write down any questions you guys may have throughout the session today. You can write it in the chat. You can write it on paper. You can wait until the end to ask those questions. And if for whatever reason you're like, it's super late, you're too tired to ask the question, please follow up via email. We want to make sure that no questions go unanswered tonight. So yeah, welcome to the Blueprint informational session. I would love to invite Mr. Q and Khalif El-Amin. I would say forward, but this is a Zoom call and I can't even see them really. But we'd love to welcome them. As you guys know, they are the co-founders of the Young Enterprises Society. They are doing some remarkable things in so many different aspects here in the city of Milwaukee. Let's hear it for Q and Khalif. You guys can make some noise like we're live and in person.
Snap, 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 snap. Snap, snap.
Yes, energy.
Thank everybody for joining us on this late night. We want to just go back and thank our fine sponsors who've made all of this possible. WEDC, Milwaukee Institute, MKE Business Now through Alderwoman Cogs, who has been a tremendous supporter and actually kicked this program off. Also Northwestern Mutual, Associated Bank. They've all kicked in generous amounts of money and resources to making sure that this program has been successful. So we always have to say thank you to them as we get started. And again, if you don't know, I'm Q El-Amin, one of the co-founders of Yes. Khalif.
Oh, I'm Khalif El-Amin, the other co-founder of Yes. And I guess we can just jump right into the questions. To give you guys a little background information, I see a lot of familiar faces but a lot of new faces as well. So I want to say welcome to the Blueprint informational session. A little bit background information on what the Blueprint is. The Blueprint is our business accelerator, or as we like to call it, our business cultivator. One, because the word accelerator was quite frankly just being played out. And two, we like to extend that incubation period, and we provide resources and services that last well beyond the 12 weeks of our cohort.
So some of the benefits of the Blueprint, one of those is the training courses that goes along with it. We've made some modifications during this round. And so this round, it'll be 4 days a week. On Mondays, you'll have your classic accelerator model going through learning the business model canvas. This one will be more idea validation. We'll do another market validation in the fall. Additionally, we'll have some financial literacy that will be put on by Secure Futures. And just recently today, Capway, Ms. Sheena Allen, she's also agreed to partner in that. And then we have a CPA office that will assist in there. One day will be a full mentor day so that people who are experienced in business in the field will be able to mentor the Blueprint participants. And then we'll have one day that will be a tech training. As most of the participants that are on this call know, that has been one of our biggest challenges is getting tech training and being able to be able to build some of the MVPs. So we'll have people that come in and teach that every Saturday. So we increase the programming. Another thing is like promotion of your business. So a lot of things that people have been that came through the Blueprint. This is Aisha. This is her ATC hair care, something that I use often. And then this is essentially you. That's a body butter. Then we have potty pearls. So a lot of different companies, they come through. They're able to get a lot of good promotion from what we do. The other benefit, of course, the financial resources that Khalif will go more into. This year, we'll have another $100,000 to divvy out to entrepreneurs throughout the Blueprint. Every year, we've changed it a little bit, and Khalif will talk more about that. But those are some of the resources that we're providing this year. And again, now it's more of an expanded platform for the entrepreneurs that go through the program.
And the target persons or businesses are people such as yourselves, people who are committed, who are dedicated, visionary, high growth potential startups in the preferred sectors of tech, e-commerce, and advanced manufacturing. Some of the criteria is that you have to be in existence for 5 years or less with an annual revenue of less than $1 million.
So this is our third, year doing it, and we put a lot of time, effort into putting this together. And so we're really looking for people who have a real commitment to being successful. And that's the reason we put this call at midnight, because and I'll say the people that I told that work 9 to 5s, they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, if you're not able to stay up to midnight, like that's not a hard thing to do. But if you're not able to do that, I mean, you're not gonna be successful as an entrepreneur. And one person got mad at me today. Like she she sent me a text and like, it's not personal. Like I said this on LinkedIn. So it's really, if you're not, I mean, this is like a small sacrifice. And so if you're not able to do that as a minimum, then you won't be. And we're looking for people that's good, that's going to work together. We've had people that have had great business ideas, but they couldn't work with other people. And Milwaukee is very small, as we all know. The world of entrepreneurship, and then you're talking about people of color entrepreneurship is small. So you can't burn bridges. You can't, you have to be nice and agreeable to most people. So we're looking for people like that. So it's going to be a huge commitment with 4 days a week, but we're looking for people who are willing to make that commitment. And I can guarantee you, if you put in the time, it will pay off. Really?
Oh, monetary. I'm sorry about that. So for this cohort, which is the fifth cohort, we'll be providing another $100,000 in seed capital. And in the previous four cohorts, we've experimented with a lot of different as to how to disperse the funds. We've had it to where we have given an equal amount to all of the startups who successfully completed. We've had it to where we gave first, second, and third place awards. This cohort, we're experimenting again and seeing what works because we know not every cohort is the same. So we're really looking at another way of dispersing of funds, which we don't want to disclose right now because then you guys will try to hold us to that. But yeah, we are looking at another another way that will give more incentive to the startups that go through our cohort. So, but yeah, we're excited, and thanks to our sponsors, we're able to continue to give not only the financial resources, but a lot of the mentors, and then the ongoing services as well.
And so the requirements on getting into the blueprint, the application is now open. So application, we'll get to the web address. And how we're doing it this year, we usually have about a month open for application. This year we're gonna have a week. And it's not a first come, first served basis. But if we get 10 hot startups that apply at the end of the day tomorrow, it is what it is. And again, we're doing that because we're really gonna be fast paced. Our feet are held to the fire, so we have to make sure to pass down that to everyone that's come through. So if you have a good idea, and that's part of it, but once you see the application, it's more about you as a person, and we're looking for high growth, high potential. So if you're interested in selling your business, selling part of your business, getting the investment, that's what we're looking for. If you want to do more of a mom and pop shop, that's cool. And we have some good resources that we can pass on and programs that's for you. But for this one, we're really going towards getting investment and being able to really grow and scale.
So the timeline is going to come fast. Like Q said, the applications are now open. The applications will be open from now until May 8th. So please apply ASAP. Once the applications close, we will announce the winners on May 10th, and then we will start our first session May 11th. So we will start May 11th, and we will go all the way Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from May 11th all the way until July 28th. So it's very intense, very rigorous. You have to be very dedicated and committed to wanting to grow your business and really, engulf yourself in this entrepreneurship journey.
So I know people have questions, so please put them in the chat. But we're going to keep things going and bring up Miss Aisha.
You got to unmute her, Q.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Hello, my name is Aishel. I am the founder of New Sample that is on your screen. I became a member of the Blueprint Accelerator. I had actually saw, I don't know which cohort it was, but it was one of the beginning cohorts pitch at Emerge Startup Week pitch event, and they blew me away. Like, they were together, they supported each other, they pitch materials was mind-blowing. And so after, I actually pitched there also, but after that, I was just like, I need to find out more about this accelerator. And so I hit up Khalif and I was like, how do I get in? I mean, what do I do? So I applied, I got in. While I was in the accelerator, I actually got to meet I became good friends with a lot of the people that was in the class. We worked together. Like, for me, it was important to be a part of something that understood how hard it was for me, or would be for me as an entrepreneur. And my business, well, I forgot to tell you about my business. It's Mute Sample. We saw the problem of copyright infringement. It's right there on the screen. But they connected me. They provided me with a lot of resources and connected me with some awesome mentors who to this day are still assisting me and helping me to grow it more. I've been able to pivot a bit in my business and still maintain the business. I think anyone that's interested in applying should really apply. Like they said, it's a big family. They're very understanding. They have a lot of resources, and it's a great support system. That's about all I got to say. Great support system.
Thank you, Aishel. If you were given the opportunity to go through again, would you go through, Aishel?
In a heartbeat.
Oh, okay. You had me nervous with the I'm like, come on now. Okay, got it. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in to share your experience. We didn't pay her for her experience or to talk about her experience. That's real from her perspective. So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Tell us about your experience during the program. Aishel, really quickly, could you go a little bit more in depth about what the program actually looked like for you as a participant?
Oh, okay. Basically, it was like I had the idea of Mute Sample, and it took being in an accelerator, took it from just the idea I had in my head to actually putting it on paper with the business model Canva and figuring out who my customers were, how I was going to reach the customers, creating a minimum viable product, who I need to speak to like just understand the industry that I'm in. It's connecting with the other people in my class. Actually, in my cohort, a lot of the individuals in my cohort, we kind of all was in the same space. So we all connected and are actually working together to build each other's businesses. So it's just growing and resources, knowledge, things that you probably wouldn't get without them.
Thank you, Aishel. All right. So we're going to move on, and we'll answer those questions that's coming in the chat towards the end of the program as well. So just keep them coming. I promise we'll answer them. Next up, we have Mr. Michael Logic. He is a software engineer. As I mentioned before, he's done work with Skinny Girl Cocktail, McDonald's, American Express, Wells Fargo, Infinity. He's recently launched Dash King, and we are super excited to have him for him to share his experience. As we know he's an expert at what he does. So welcome, Mr. Michael Logic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is actually exciting. So just, direct me in whichever manner that you'd like to. Just kind of use me like a weapon. I'll ramble this way or ramble that way and just point me.
Got it. So can you just give a brief overview about your experience in the tech world?
Yes. Okay. So educational background from Xavier University of New Orleans, George Mason University. Computer science is my background, is my major. Fresh out of school, I connected with Oracle University. They put a lot of good stuff into me and got me to a great company called Northrop Grumman, where I did some pretty amazing stuff at about age 19, 20 with Oracle Technologies. And that really got me a great taste for the, I guess, higher end of computer science and what was exactly possible. I think what got me into computer science in general was the thought that it could be like a bionic arm to whatever it is I wanted to do. Whether I'd want to, sell women's shoes or baseball cards or, make cars, being able to manipulate the matrix, so to speak, or understanding code would just take me that much further in any industry. And I guess we can see that because information technology has accelerated everything, right? So I guess the love for technology jumped off from there. I think I had a desire to get into all aspects of it, from design to information technology and human interfacing. So I started my own business, let's say about a year out of college. I did a lot of government contracting in Washington, D.C. area, and then moved back to Chicago, where I switched over to commercial technology, which was more my love. And pretty quickly learned that Chicago was a very good ground for me to use computer science or a bionic arm to dip into a lot of different industries at a very high level and actually be creative with the code and learn a lot about, just how systems in general work. And during this time period, I started MicroLogic Administration and worked with companies that range from banks, like Wells Fargo, to big liquor manufacturers, Jim Beam, the Beam Global Enterprise. Skinny Girl Cocktail is where that project kicked off, where I created their latest and greatest of mobile technology for the actual Jim Beam Global, the corporate organization, and Skinny Girl, via their marketing arm. Let's see, what else? McDonald's, they had a pretty interesting application where a few years back, you kind of saw how McDonald's physical locations, they switched up to a very nouveau look. It went from kind of the old style McDonald's to where all of them almost look like, Starbucks now, except for they're just like red and orange. That process happened by the McDonald's Owner Association creating an application, iPad app, that was literally like an interior design application where you could take 3D objects and, move stuff around and create a redesign for your McDonald's store. And they, distributed that to the owners, and they utilized that to rearrange their stores. And I guess I played a pretty integral part in putting that application together. And that leads us up to now, where my goal was to step out of consulting and more so into building technology in which I innovated from the ground up, or if you ever seen the movie Beautiful Mind, I guess creating a unique contribution to the industry or the computer science that can just say, okay, well, I did this, and this is something that could even be patented, so to speak. And that led me into marketing technology and logistics technology. Didn't know that, but the logistics technology turned out to be automation software. We call it Dashpin. And it's a suite of applications that are going to make a lot of noise this year in solving a bunch of problems that the Department of Transportation highlighted last year. I guess I can stop there, take a breath.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your background. And one of my first questions, because you do have the technology background, marketing, what advice do you have for small businesses looking to grow their business, given the current circumstances of the world? What advice do you have? How important is technology nowadays?
Wow. I use a quote in my recent discussions from a person that you may not expect, Vladimir Putin, actually. He said, the country that controls artificial intelligence will control the world. I'm paraphrasing, maybe something similar to that. And I really do see a lot of truth behind that, not in the scary Terminator sense, but from a very practical application of information being power. That definitely, reigns true. To say something as simple as own and collect data that could be useful to other people, right? Is where I could say start, because we have, I guess, an audience of varying levels. There are many different industries that are trying to apply technology to their business, and I guess I'm speaking from that perspective now. That would be my expertise, is the engineer that produces this technology for many of the businesses. And what data do you own is a good question to answer. As you come to the table with many different business ideas, they've started a myriad of different ways. Like my marketing technology started from me wanting to put together software that would allow me to have the perfect way on to plan on not planning to do anything as far as my entertainment activities is concerned. Also, there could be technology that you create that comes out of necessity that you see from a specific industry that you're in already and may have experience and nuances of that industry. The way to answer that question, what data do you own, usually starts with how you're going to apply the technology to your business, right? And what information you're going to start collecting from the people that you're servicing or the customers that you're patronizing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. And I want to go back to your app, Dash Ping. What problem are you solving, and how were you able to take that solution and turn it into a business?
Okay. That's kind of a moving target, and that's a good thing to talk about as well. There's so much to ramble on as it relates to technology that I guess I'll try to even put that in the mix. The fact that one of my biggest jobs is looking at a particular situation, industry, a process, and helping leaders or owners of these processes, products, and industries change, right? It's that word change. The freight industry, particularly freight trucking, has been one of the slowest industries in America to change. Okay, so much so that they created such an epic problem that pushed up to a governing body that had to consider it an emergency, a problem that needed to be solved in the year 2020. With respect to this new issue that we're dealing with the pandemic, COVID-19, quarantine, and its effect on freight trucking, it started to place even more pressure or highlight more benefits of the software and automation that we were creating for the industry. Dashping, the simplest way to put it, started out as a way to solve what we call detention issues in the trucking industry. Okay, to be real simple, when you pick up something, when you deliver something, the trucker, okay, may have some long waits that are beyond his control at the pickup location or the delivery location, and they consider that detention. Let's say if the trucker has to wait longer than a certain period of time, of agreed upon time, any type of time that they wait at the facility beyond that time should be compensated, to the driver. That is time that the shipper or the vendor should pay the trucker. Okay, and the issue comes about because, as we say in this industry, it's slow to change, so really no adoption of technology up to a certain point. The parties that were trying to agree on the detention payments, okay, didn't have efficient and instantaneous documentation and third-party approval of these processes, okay, to properly approve and issue these detention payments to the truckers. $2.2 billion problem the Department of Transportation, I guess, estimated. And this was only the amount of detention payments that went unaccounted for. There are many errors outside of that. And the biggest reason why this problem wasn't solved was just that there was no technology that automated everything that needed to be done in order for the shippers to trust this system, for the truckers to easily adopt this system without any hassle or any training, okay, and a third-party company being technically apt enough to make sure that their process works smoothly. And that's what DashPing literally is. It's a very intricately designed and industry view of the detention issue for all of freight trucking rolled into an automation software.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you. I want to open it up for the sake of time. For the sake of time, I want to open it up to anyone who may have questions specifically for Michael, and knowing his background and the things that he just touched upon this evening. Does anyone have any specific questions?
What are some of the frameworks that you're working with in terms of collecting the data for your for the app that you're doing, the freight app? That's what type of frameworks are you seeing right now that are really coming of age, I guess today? I don't know how to come of age, but
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of give a good surface answer for that. That's somewhat of a technical question, so I'm not sure if it'll make a whole lot of sense to everyone, but DashPing is cloud server technology. It's built on the Node.js software platform. The machine learning and AI process for the process of predicting wait times and facility insights at the pickup and delivery locations. That technology was built in Python, and I used a software development kit called Scikit. Scikit Learn. Scikit-learn is the official artificial intelligence package that I prefer in coding machine learning to create artificial intelligence.
Thank you for that. You know, part of what we're having to work on a project in our internship is we have to also figure out a way to verify time testing, if you will, hours, and we're looking to find different database, you know, systems to use, or, you know, ways to verify the data that is between, you know, different individuals and stuff. And so, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like you might be hinting towards something that is a buzzword in the industry, which you've heard, and it's called blockchain. That is, it's a lot to do. Like, I'll give my opinion on that particular technology because I think it somewhat answers something that you were trying to hint at. Let me clarify. You maybe asked, or you were inquiring about technology that could almost serve as a proof of compliance or a proof of identity, you know, or proof of execution of some sort, right? That's really what blockchain is the recipe for. I know you probably hear it in conjunction a lot with cryptocurrency, but I think there is maybe a little bit of confusion with how that technology can be viewed. It doesn't have to be just used with cryptocurrency and just for the security of money, okay? Blockchain technology was modeled basically after the same stuff that built Napster. Are you guys familiar with Napster, the website that, you know, blew up the whole file sharing and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so the blockchain is more so a glorified, you know, decentralized server technology that has become trusted now because the financial industry has been convinced by some technologists, you know, that Bitcoin is secure, you know, which it is, which it can be, you know. We won't even argue or get into that. But I definitely think that if you are a small business and you're not scared of some of these terms, you're not scared of peeking into these technologies, blockchain is at the infancy of what it can do. I think you have a lot of companies copying everybody, a lot of companies spending billions and billions of dollars doing the exact same thing. And once a few creative minds get their hands on a reason, you know, to use blockchain technology, then I think you'll probably see some cool things with that. And I'll say this moving forward. My industry, the technology industry, is one of the most susceptible of new buzzwords going wild. One, why? Because most of the time these buzzwords are just created to have a quick name for something very complex and very intricate, okay? And then they hand over maybe sales explanations to the marketing department. And then people go buck wild with them because they might be able to use them to get more venture funding. You might be able to use them to make more people pay attention, you know, things of that nature. Okay.
Awesome. We have a few questions in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to jump.
You reading them, Michael?
Yeah. Oh, do I have any contact info? Yes, of course. I think Q and Leaf can, distribute the contact info. So I'll hand over everything. Do the companies that use your app have any issue with them having access to their business activities? You know what? In order to answer that question, I might need to know what particular app he's talking about, or if he's talking about an app in general. That's a security question. So let me pass up on that till I get some more detail. You being miss right. What was that sidekick? Oh, let me type it for you. It was SkyKit Learn. Hold on a second. That was the machine learning software development kit somebody just asked about. They called it SideKit. I knew what they were talking about. Okay. Michael, how are you funding DashPing? If you did raise capital, or are you raising capital, can you speak on that experience? Yeah. We can ramble on that for a while too. I think I could maybe share some experiences of mistakes that could probably help quicker in this type of setting, than trying to run down any like suggestions or anything. Because I think maybe I approached a lot of that side of business development the harder way, because I was more so in technology considered like the source, I guess, or the talent that actually created these systems and engines. A lot of the times, the situation may be different in fundraising if you are the business mind and not necessarily the engineer. So you have to approach it a different way, and I learned that the hard way as well. One of the first mistakes that I made is my first innovation that I got investment in is a project called No Planes. And I'll be kind of quiet about that right now. I may give some more information to Q and Leaf at a later date, because we're gonna have a grand launch of that. But there was some marketing technology in that project that I didn't know was gonna be as big as it has grown to be over the planning process and over the process of me talking to the influencers and people that I did. A small idea that some high school friends and some college friends invested in, a small amount of money, uh, turned out to be a 4 to 5 year planning process, even though I'm the engineer that is well capable of developing the technology. And we still haven't launched that particular project, but the hard mistake that I made was maybe not understanding the value of the innovation that I had already pseudo created, let's say in thought and on paper, but just hadn't coded out. And so I may have given more of the project away as it relates to equity for a smaller amount of money. And it's just taking a little bit longer for us to reach our launch point because I didn't understand the value of that. So I would say the first mistake is the valuation of your idea. And in speaking on generating venture capital for, let's say, DashPing or any of the things that I've done, I would say, once I get that litmus test of understanding that it's a great idea, find the maybe most trusted business professional that you know yourself that has put together some kind of business pro forma, they call it. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs with ideas, or even I can speak on myself, a lot of coders and engineers that are geniuses creating algorithms or something like that. I'm not calling myself a genius, but that are creating algorithms. They want to focus on that. Just like a ball player playing basketball, they really want to focus on the game and not necessarily, what's in the bleachers or what's in the back office. But before you go to raise funds, I would definitely say if you're the only person that this idea has bounced off of a certain business stature you really don't know how much you need to raise. So I think that first step of creating this pro forma of understanding a great guesstimate of just exactly what are you trying to build? Does it need to be built? And once you build it, what kind of money could you really make? And then, go into how to get it built, and how much it will cost, and then the funding process, which is probably the number one question that I get asked as being the development firm or the engineer to create some of these great ideas that I hear, is how much is it going to cost me, and how much time is it going to take? And you thoroughly need to understand the problem that you're solving, and how big or small of a system that you need to put together before we can even jump into those questions. Funding Dashping was the initial question. That's actually being funded from some previous technology that I built called Dash Hall, right? Notice how I was saying that we have somewhat of a suite of applications in the logistics industry. I feel kind of good about that because it was an industry that I definitely didn't think about applying my bionic arm or technology skills to. And after high school buddies got me into the industry in Chicago, which is actually a home of the most per capita trucking companies in the US. Didn't know that either. So I'm sitting in a pool of money, right? In $1 trillion a year market that has literally, little to no technology adoption. So I guess that's where I started seeing the dollar signs, but also a way that I could be creative too, because when you apply the technology or you create new systems, you actually change the game, right? So Dash Hall was Uber Freight. If you guys know that Uber got into the freight industry, right? And they launched a company called Uber Freight. Well, they actually launched that company months after me and my partners created the official and full mobile version of Dash Hall, dashhall.com. And Uber Freight came out to be pretty much an exact replica of Dash Hall, but they just had a whole lot of money to put some loads, through that marketplace. And so we were still able to survive, as Dash Hall, an innovative company that put freight brokeraging into a digital platform for public access. And so Dash Hall is still in business right now, and the sales and revenue from Dash Hall and that technology helps to fund Dashping. I can say that might be a unique situation. One, because I'm the creator of the technology at a high level, and we were able to create an enterprise platform that is servicing companies like Georgia Pacific. Have done some business with C.H. Robinson, a couple other bigger freight and shipping companies as well. I can't name off the top of my head. But that was able to give us leverage to fund our own development to get Dashping up to this particular point. And what I will say is that we're about to release a new set of automation that I just coded called Freight Bots. And as soon as that hits the market, roughly about 2 weeks after we get off of this call here, you'll probably see me ramping up, talking to larger companies about funding for the artificial intelligence behind our next steps. We were able to get a lot of this funded, with our own bootstraps and, our own other freight brokerage. But this next feat, I'm going to code something pretty intense, and it's going to be artificial intelligence of a particular kind that's going to connect every transportation management system in the business. And I need artificial intelligence to do that, and I need more money. So we'll be raising funds pretty soon. See. Pulling out of the technical aspects and focusing on more.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what, logistics, or, more about logistics, or is it more about, just essentially using technology, to connect different avenues?
Yes, I can do that. Hold that thought right there. Hold that question. I want to just answer this one really quick from Dana, I guess, about the CEO company business side, handle sales. Team. Yes.
And yes, and actually, while you're reading that question, Michael, this will actually be, we're going to do one more, the Alex question about what type of data is collected before we wrap up this segment. And then you can answer Dana's. I'm not saying don't answer Dana's, but we'll wrap up with those last two. And then Davida and everyone else, for whatever other questions you may have, we'll make sure that you have his contact to follow up. Just for the sake of time, we want to be considerate of the rest because we know we have to make it a priority. All right, go ahead, Michael.
Okay. It just, I guess, really quickly addressing this question. It sounds like maybe experience of wearing multiple hats. I can definitely say as a young entrepreneur starting MicroLogic administration, I was excited about wearing multiple hats, and now I'm not. I can truly honestly say that. I can say that I'm in a position where my biggest challenge right now is to duplicate myself. I've put our enterprise, which is like multiple businesses running off of my skill set per se, that would definitely benefit from maybe another technical hand that could jump across many lines in the manner that I do to help us move a lot faster in technical development. But I can definitely say earlier on, wearing all the hats allowed me to build technology that I think may be more in tune or just different in the area of how well fit the technology is to the interactive marketing side of a particular business or industry. So in closing out, the answer to that question, I was very happy, to try to marginalize myself into being more so like a mascot of MicroLogic administration than being all of the brains and muscle of it. So I definitely felt, I think it was Q who mentioned something about technical talent. And that's something that I think I want to try to help out as much as I possibly can in connecting with Q and Leaf as much as possible, because I look around, I don't see a lot of guys I can play ball with, so to speak, right? In a lot of different industries, if you're a barber, if you're a rapper, if you a painter of some sort, sometimes you usually have easy access to people like yourself that you can bounce certain things off, or maybe even start things with that doesn't take a whole lot of complexity. But I can definitely say, with the myriad of technical talent that's in this world, definitely not a lot, I guess, of my community. Definitely not a lot even in the US per se, because at a particular level, you see all of this stuff getting outsourced to the Ukraine, to Belarus, to India, for cheaper rates. What type of data do you collect using Dashping? Are companies concerned about data privacy? So let's just say data privacy. I think there's somewhat of illusion. Data privacy is almost like the screen door at your grandmother's house. Like, I mean, you just got to keep it closed so no flies get in, make sure she doesn't yell at you, but I mean, what is it really, Anyway, I don't want to make a solid statement on that. Security questions are going to be a little difficult for me to answer maybe earlier on in my career and maybe speaking out because there are two sides, or I like to separate computer science into two sides. There is the constructive, and then there's the destructive, right? The constructive is the creating, that's the engineering. The destructive is the hacking, the cracking, the ciphering, the dismantling of the algorithms in the manner in which they were supposed to be created. Utilized, right? And I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the defending of the destructive side. They go hand in hand, so creative and clever creation also makes it hard for it to destroy. For someone to easily destroy certain things in their normal manner. So, that's a way I've been getting by with certain things. But Dashping, we definitely, have a terms of use policy. We definitely have encryption levels that can rival any of your Facebooks and Instagrams and YouTubes and PayPals for that matter. We partner with Stripe on the financial technology. Okay, so none of our registered subscribers that pay their monthly subscription fees to Dashping and receive payments from us, for their detention payments. That financial information isn't actually stored on our server. Okay, there's this thing in the technology industry called PCI compliance, which is just basically meaning that if you're going to deal with credit cards or if you're going to store financial information, you have to go through a whole lot of stuff to store copies of that information and also to have a certain level of insurance, for storing that information. With us, we are responsible for data like the locations of the drivers that have consented to use the application. Okay. The technology is being adopted by the trucking companies or by the drivers more and more because they see this as a benefit to help ensure that they get the detention payments that they're supposed to receive. And I guess in a nutshell, and closing out to answer that question, the data that we house more so about the interactivity of the shipments going from location to location. And as long as the agreed two parties that are looking at it, shipper and carrier, we block out everything else via encryption. And back to your question, I forgot it, so you may have to state it again.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of more about the logistics. The technology we're using, or I guess with the a change in, I guess some more clarity on how you use technology and stuff to forward logistics in terms of business to business.
Okay, I would just say two areas. back to that word change really quick. I mean, you guys see how fast stuff changes, right? Applications update so fast. iPhones coming out every 6 months, you know, something as intricate as an iPhone, and they have a new one, you know, every 6 months. So with technology moving so fast, at a very basic level, there are really fine nuances to freight shipping that don't take advantage of the current technology that is out, specifically tracking and tracking associated with um, um, the drivers and what they're doing at the pickup and delivery locations. Okay. And the technology that we put together, I have trademarked it sync and forget. That's one of the biggest pieces of the logistics algorithm that we have currently working. So if all goes well, you know, you should see me making an announcement about our company just going through the legals to have sync and forget technology, you know, trademarked. You know, for us being the creators of that process or algorithm in which a truck driver can quickly enter in a phone number into the dash ping application. And that's literally the only thing they have to do. It's sync and forget. That phone number syncs the application. They can forget about, you know, checking in or you know, responding to any dispatcher and things of that nature as it relates to the detention calculations and the detention tracking for you know, delivery and pickups. Oh, and then the number two,
Okay.
just like the second thing. Yeah, the second thing was just automation in the fact that in such a outdated industry, right, you still have a room of transportation managers, 50, 60 transportation managers that are on the phone doing something that automation and AI could do very easily. And we were able to actually prove that in a meeting with Georgia Pacific in Green Bay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael, for answering all of the questions that everyone had. Thank you all for asking questions. That does conclude this segment. And as I mentioned before, he'll probably send the information to me, and I'll follow up with everyone via email with Michael's contact, and you guys can reach out at your convenience. But moving forward, that does bring our wonderful midnight meeting to an end. But before we go, we would like to open it up for any questions that you guys may have about the blueprint, what it looks like. So just to reiterate what was mentioned before, the application is live. Take a moment to look it up, look it through and complete it. It is due by May 8th. From there, you'll receive a follow-up saying, yes, we would like to move forward with you. And then the program will run from May 11th to July 28th, 4 days a week. It is an investment. I always tell every individual, like, it's this time you're putting in, and two is an investment into your future, your business, your brand. So please consider it. As they mentioned, it is a financial incentive. They have the money, they want to give it away, they have to give it away. So please make sure if you are interested that you apply. Do not hesitate to ask questions. If you are not comfortable asking questions out loud or to the large group, you do have the email. Our contact, Khalif just actually added the application site to the chat, so make sure you check the chat. But yeah, does anyone have any questions before we log off and get some sleep?
There's questions in the chat.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, about the Oh, yeah, I was just wondering about you, the time that, what time are the classes in the, during the day?
During the day, roughly, Q, chime in if you'd like to. I believe it's from.
So Mondays, there'll be 4 hours on, and then the Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Well, Tuesdays and Thursdays would be 1 hour, and then Saturdays would be 2 hours.
Okay. And then do you actually, did they say that you had to be in business for a certain amount of time in order for you to apply, or?
No, you don't.
More than 5 years.
Yeah, no more than 5 years. And
No more, okay.
yeah, if we look in the chat, I see Alec asked, can one apply simply with an idea? Yes, you can apply with just an idea. Even if you don't necessarily have an idea, you can apply as well, as we'll be matching people up. So again, it's more about you and your drive. And, we hopefully you have something that you're interested in and want to build, but you want to make sure that you have the drive there. And then this will be via Zoom, since we do have to stay at home. Or Jimmy, I see, asked that question. So it'll be all via Zoom unless the stay at home order when it's released. Then we will meet up at the office. But until that time, it will be via a Zoom for the 4 days a week. Let me see. Tamika asked,
Do you work with nonprofit?
no. So this is truly about making income, making revenue, making money to be able to fund your foundation or your nonprofit. But this program itself is for profit generating companies, so we don't accept any nonprofits. Let's see.
That's all I read in the chat.
Okay. Any more questions?
There was a question that was sent to me directly, and it said, has the time of day for each session been determined? So for Mondays, that'll be the primary class instruction time. So that will go from 9 to 1. Tuesdays will go from 9 to 10. Thursdays will be kind of I would say a matrix schedule. That would be a work day and whatnot. And then Saturdays will be, Q is at 9 to 11 or 10 to 12.
I think 9 to 11.
9 to 11 on Saturdays. How many individuals will be accepted into the cohort? This cohort, we will have 20 companies. At least 10 of those companies will be companies from Milwaukee.
And
I'm sorry, I got one more follow-up private question. So the question was AM or PM. I know that this session was this late, but the sessions will be 9 AM to 1 PM, and all the sessions start in the AM. So 9 AM to 1 PM on Mondays, 9 AM to 10 PM on Tuesdays. Thursdays are during the day for work day and meet with your mentors and meet with Steph and get your evaluations and whatnot. And then Saturday will be 9 to 11 AM.
And I just want to add our website. Use the youngeastsociety.com/apply. That's the other one. Our webmaster is working on it, but the youngeastsociety.com is good to go straight to the application. And by tomorrow morning, the other site or Follow the Yes should be up for more information on the blueprint.
Awesome. Well, we will not keep you any longer. Again, please follow up via email if you think of any other questions that may come up. Attendance is important. Again, the meetings are via Zoom. And that's all we have. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Get some rest, and we will be in touch soon.
Thank you all.
Stay healthy, stay safe.